Hello and welcome to another video with Johnny. And in this video, I will continue the lesson to kind of prepare this student for his entrance examination to medical school. And in particularly, he's going to medical school of Debrecen in Hungary. They learn in English, of course, they do. Now, they study in English, of course. Now, so so his name is Mr. Khan. Mr. Khan, are you ready for your
Yes.
learning now? Okay, so last time we did a lot of chemistry. We did a lot of chemistry, general chemistry last time. So maybe today I would focus more on biology then. Now, so we did homeostasis, skeletal muscle cell, locomotion in humans, basic defense. I would like to know about number 13. Okay, do you know about the human nervous system? Can you tell the basic structure and function of it?
The human nervous system consists of two main systems: the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system.
Peripheral nervous system, yes.
Peripheral.
So tell me what the differences are.
The differences are, the central nervous system is where it receives feedbacks from the sensory nervous and process.
Sensory neuron, you mean?
Neurons.
You mean the sensory neurons?
Sensory neurons.
Uh-huh.
And it process the informations and give feedbacks through
Process the information.
Process.
Remember the verb and the noun form is process, not process, okay? Process. It process information.
It processes the informations and giving the
It processes information and
it processes and sends the signal to the peripheral nervous system, where it will act based on the feedbacks.
Okay, sure then tell me. What would happen if someone loses their head? Will their body be able to survive? Let's just assume that there's no loss of blood. Let's assume that there's no loss of blood. And if the person loses his or her head, would the body be able to survive? Because you still have a spine, you still have a spinal cord. Would the body be able to survive? Assuming that you do not lose blood.
I mean, it could, but the body won't be able to move. But it will be able to survive because the heart is create its own action potential.
Yes, the heart creates its own action potential through the nodes, right? SA node and what's it called? VA and SA node.
AV nodes.
AV nodes and SA nodes. Okay, so the heart will be able to create its own electrical impulses, so blood would still be able to travel without a head.
Yep.
But is there conscious? Can the person think?
No, the person cannot think.
Why?
Because being able to think, you have to have a brain. It's where the
advanced nervous system are located, right?
Yeah.
So what exactly does the spinal cord do?
The spinal cords help with body. I think that it helps to transmit the signal through to the peripheral nervous system, such as the hands, legs, and stuff. I think.
Transmit signal? Are you sure? Is transmitting signal like pain, like feelings on the screen or something? Is that the only thing it does? It does only transmitting signal? Is that the only thing?
It helps with the body's posture and movements.
It does help something with the body posture, yes. But the main thing I was talking about now is the spinal cord. It's a very important part of the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic. You know that word, did you?
Yes.
Of course you did. So it's part of the autonomic nervous system. So which means, what does it mean, autonomic? It means it controls what? What does it control? It controls involuntary involuntary actions of the body. Những hoạt động vô thức. Involuntary actions, which means like you cannot stop your heart from beating, because basically first of all, the heart can beat on its own. Second, the heart is controlled somehow by the spine as well. All of your body, your stomach, your GI tract, your gastrointestinal tract, or your guts. Gastrointestinal tract is like everything from the mouth all the way to the anus. What I was talking about is all the organs. It is controlled by the spinal cord. So what does it mean? It's autonomic. You cannot stop those organs from functioning without the spinal cord. The spinal cord just control all these involuntary activities of the body because it's autonomic nervous system, If the spinal cord is damaged at one part, then that part, then the organs that is affected, that is run by that part will be affected. You know what I mean, right? But if the head is dead, let's say if the head is injured or the brain is dead, the whole body can still survive on its own. Alright, see, you're not so clear. You're not so deep into the knowledge yet. Now, my next question. Can you describe, can you describe like shortly the brain?
You repeat the question?
Can you describe shortly the structure of the brain?
The brains?
Yes. What does it contain? What's inside there? What's the function of that?
It contains the cerebrum,
cerebrum, yes. Cerebellum is the one that is behind here.
Yeah, it's behind. Cerebellum, the medulla
pons and medulla. It's the pons and medulla, or we also call them the brain stem. The brain stem, because that's exactly where the brain grows from. Cái này nó mọc ra từ chỗ đó, brain stem. Pons and medulla. We also call pons and medulla the primitive brain. Não nguyên thủy, also called a primitive brain because basically the pons and medulla are also responsible for involuntary activities in the body as well. So The pons and medulla will lead to the spinal cord. The pons and medulla also controls a lot of involuntary activity, so it means you don't know exactly. You cannot control it. What else then? Còn gì không nhỉ?
Hypothalamus. Hypothalamus.
The hypothalamus. Well, hypothalamus is part of the what is it called? Endocrine system. Yes, but hypothalamus is also part of the brain too. What does it do?
It's regulated and secrete hormones.
Okay, if you talk about hormones, that is endocrine, but we are talking about structures and function now.
Then that's all I know. That's all the part that I know.
Okay, have ever heard about the limbic system? The limbic system actually includes hypothalamus, the pineal gland behind that, and some another gland. I don't remember the name. I think 3 glands, but that is responsible for our fear, our feeling, our memory. The limbic system. Now, so that about the brain. Okay, let's move on to excretory system, number 12. What do you know about the basic anatomy and physiology of the human excretory system?
The human excretory system is a system where it secretes out waste of the bodies, and it consists of processed organs such as the kidneys, lungs, and all the glands that excrete out waste from the bodies, such as sweat glands.
Sweat gland, you mean? Sweat.
Yeah, sweat glands.
Okay, such as sweat glands. Okay. Tell me, is skin part of the excretory system? The skin.
And no. What does skin secrete?
The skin inside the skin. You know, we shed our skin just like cats shed their fur, right? So basically, the skin cells are shed every day. That's why you need to go to the shower and remove it.
Yeah.
The skin actually secrete the oil on our skin. That's why we have to wipe clean every day, you know, keep ourselves clean. So basically, these things are part of the excretory system as well. However, beside from the oil and the skin shedding, we also have sweat gland. What you say? Yes. The sweat is to keep us cool, to keep the temperature, keep the moisture on our skin. Did you mention like about kidney and mention about feces as well? The kidney, the anus, feces, something like that. Basically, all the kind of waste in the human body. Okay, please continue. Yes, I'm listening.
I don't know where to go now.
Human excretory system. You need to explain how kidney excrete urine, how it filters. You should also describe how the food becomes feces in the body. And you should also mention the skin, how it shapes the skin every day, dead skin, oil, and things like that too. What else? Beside, in the ear, in the nose, we also have other kind of excretes too. Những chất mà tiết ra. We call them excretes. The excretes. Những chất tiết ra. Now, tell me, please. Human excretory system.
Excretory system. It consists of excretes. The process of excrete out feces is where the foods went through the digestive system and being absorbed, and then it's to certain gut breaking downs and all the
Yes.
And all the substance that is necessary for the bodies are being absorbed. It went through it went to large intestine to form feces, which consists of waters, ionic salt, and dead cell bacteria. And the sweat glands is and all the beside that there are also like also
yes, beside that there was also
there was also the process of exhaled CO2 help and CO2 sweat glands help to eliminate heat and
eliminate what?
Eliminate heat.
Heat. Heat.
Heat.
So heat. It's heat. Eliminate heat from body. Excess heat from body. Well, in the cold weather, we also sweat too. What's the problem? Why do we sweat? Think about water. What's the quality of water?
It's also the sweat glands also help to excrete toxics like urea.
Toxic urea, yes. Well, what I was asking you about is basically water to the sweat. Why does it keep us warm in winter? Because in winter we also sweat too.
Winter.
Think about it. Water has a very high heat capacity, specific heat capacity. Nhiệt dung riêng đó. So it has a very high specific heat capacity. The sea of water, I think it's about 4,200 kilojoule per kilo, I think. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about the units though, but I remember the number 4,200 something. So water has a high specific heat capacity, which means that, what does it mean? This is in physics. You have to know this.
I don't know.
Heat capacity describes how much energy is required to increase a liquid or something by 1 degree Celsius. Cái nhịp dung riêng đó, specific capacity nó miêu tả cái lượng năng lượng cần thiết để mà tăng 1 độ C của một cái chất nào đó, một cái gì đó. So basically, it needs a lot of energy to increase 1 degree Celsius of water. So it means that if you have sweat, which is water around your body, it shields your body against heat loss during the winter. It shield, yes, it does shield, because it doesn't. It helps the body to maintain the temperature, you know. And during the summer, you sweat because during the summer water evaporates very quickly. So the evaporation process causes the body to lose heat rapidly, which results in you cooling down during the summer. That is the reason why we sweat during very cold or very hot weather, you know.
Okay.
Nó có lý do hết phần rồi. There's a reason for everything. You need to know. Now, so excretory system. Okay, describe the formation of urine, please, and the kidney. And of course, you need to be able to draw the kidney as well.
Yeah. The kidney consists of the renal cortex, renal medulla,
the cortex, the
cortex,
medulla,
the renal pelvis, renal pyramids.
Renal, we call them renal.
Renal.
It's renal pyramid. Renal.
Renal.
Yes. We have 2 kidneys. You forgot to mention that. You have 2. We start with 2 kidneys. And if you're too poor, some people have only 1 kidney left. I'm just joking, of course. Now, please continue.
The blood flow into the kidney to the through the renal arteries and.
Wait, what did you say? What kind of artery?
Renal.
Renal artery, right?
Renal artery, yes. Renal arteries.
What else then?
It's meet the it's meet the nephron structures.
The nephron. What is a nephron? You need to say what exactly is a nephron.
Nephron
is a functional unit of the kidney.
Function. Okay. Nephrons. And the nephrons function unit of kidneys, and it consists of the renal corpus,
corpuscle or something like that.
Corpuscle, yeah.
Corpuscle.
Yeah, and renal tubules. Renal tubules consist of proximal convoluted tubules, lupopelli,
just a moment, please. Just a moment. Okay, please continue.
The distal convoluted tubules with drains into collecting ducts.
You forgot to mention the loop of Henle, did you?
Yeah, I did mention it.
Okay, you did. Okay. And it drains into the collecting duct.
Ducts, yeah.
So basically, the blood gets filtered through the nephrons.
Nephrons.
Right. So what gets filtered? What remains in the blood? What gets filtered out? And what can you usually find in the urine?
The most substance in the blood is easily passed through the glomerular filter. However, some blood cells and most of the proteins are not filters because of the because of the size of the blood cells and proteins. And the where the or the substance that's passed through consists of water, uh, glucose, amino acids, ions, urea.
So you said, okay, can the red blood cell comes into the nephron? Can the red blood cell pass into the filtrate?
No, the red blood cells cannot pass filters. But because of its the size cannot through the the wall.
Because of the size, okay. If you find blood in the urine, what does it mean then?
Means
Think, if you find blood in the urine, what does it mean?
that means the structures in the
There's something wrong with the structure, right?
the structure of the arteries, because arteries is have holes, so the
So
red
there
blood
must
cell
be holes in there, that's why it smells so bad, right? Is that what you're saying?
the structures have holes in the artery, so the red blood cell can be transferred.
In the filtrate. Alright, that's one reason. The other reason is that because if, after passing through the kidney, it has to go through the ureter and then the bladder, urinary bladder, and then finally through the urethra before going out of the body, right?
Yep.
So any bleeding along the way can lead to the urine having blood in there. Any kind of bleeding. It can be bleeding through urinary tract infection, UTI. UTI means urinary tract infection. Những cái viêm nhiễm trong đường tiểu, urinary tract infections can also lead to blood in the urine as well. So it does not. So there might be many reasons, you know. You should mention many reasons too, you know. Alright, so you mentioned that most of the substances are filtered, pass through to the filtrate. Did you say that?
Sure.
Including ions, sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, what else? Chloride, glucose. But what happens to them? Because you're not supposed to find glucose in the urine.
It gets reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubules.
So it is reabsorbed.
Reabsorbs.
Is it only the proximal convoluted tubules that reabsorbs? Because you have also other parts of the kidney that reabsorbs too.
Yeah.
Like you have the proximal, proximal, it reabsorbs the glucose and bicarbonate ions, and then so which part absorbs the water or reabsorbs the water?
the loop appendix, and the collecting ducts.
True that. Very good. Okay, that's good enough. Because these knowledge are in physiology in the second year. Alright, so let's move on to 11. Basic anatomy and physiology of human digestive system. Can you talk about it?
The digestive system is the system that consists of two main groups of organs: the GI tracts and the accessory digestive organs. The GI tract is a continuous tube from the mouth to the anus.
What tube on the mouth?
What? Sorry?
What type of tube are you talking about?
The GI tract.
Yes, the GI tract.
Yeah.
We also call them alimentary tube.
Yeah. So it went from mouth to the anus. And accessory organs consist of teeth, tongue, all the glands, livers, pancreas, gallbladders.
Okay.
Okay. And the process of digestion consists of six process: ingestions, secretions, mixing, digestions, absorptions, and defecations.
Very good. Digestive system is actually quite large because you have to explain from the mouth, which is saliva gland, what the teeth and the tongue do, and what prevents the food from getting to the lung. You need to explain also what happens in the valves of the stomach. Like for example, what does the valve do? It prevents the acid from the stomach to go up, upward, which is bad. You need to explain the function of enzymes, the function of the acid in the stomach as well. You need to also explain what the pancreas do, what does it secrete, what happens when you eat, what kind of hormones are secreted into the blood when you eat something, which is insulin and glucagon. Which also explain what does the action of the enzyme, pancreatic enzymes, like enzyme for the pancreas. Like for example, trypsin, trypsinogen, trypsin, peptidase, protease, any kind of like proteins like that, like an enzyme to digest proteins like that. Then you also explain like what does the bile do. The liver secrete the bile, which is stored in the gallbladder. What's it called? Gallbladder, yeah. And then when you eat fatty food, then the fat, we call the bile salt, and bile acids are produced. Muối mật và axit mật. Bile salt and bile acids are produced to destroy try to break down the fat that we eat. And then what happens when the food reaches the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine, duodenum, jejunum, and the last part is ileum.
Can you repeat how you say duodenum?
Duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. These are the name of three parts of the small intestines. This is the reason why I make videos, because you can rewatch them. Duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. What get absorbed And then can you describe the structure of the small intestine, like the villi, the hair, you know? Why does the structure of the small intestine looks like, you know, like that, but not smooth? Why does it look very rough structures? To increase the surface area so the body can absorb the nutrients better. Gia tăng những cái tiếp xúc thôi để mà hấp thụ dinh dưỡng tốt hơn. Okay, and then you should also explain like what will happen when the food gets to the large intestine. Most vitamins and water are absorbed there too, so that the food become more harder, more rigid, it becomes feces later. There you go, a lot of things to explain. You remember them all?
I think I can.
Okay, try
I
it.
can guess.
Try it. Basic anatomy and physiology of the human digestive system. Can you try it?
Okay. The foods first. First, the foods gets ingest in the mouth first. Mouth have such structures such as teeth, teeth, lung, tongue, saliva glands. Is where the physical is where the mechanical digestion happens. The teeth help to breaking down foods, and tongue help the food to help to create help to shape food.
How to mix actually. We don't need to shape anything. We need to mix.
Mix.
We need to mix. We need to mix what with what?
With saliva that excreted from the saliva glands.
Four areas in around the mouth where saliva can be produced. So what does saliva contains? What does it do?
The saliva contains
what enzyme?
amylase, which help to break down starch into glucose, into maltose.
Not glucose yet, maltose.
Maltose.
Basically disaccharides, not monosaccharides yet. Chưa phải là đường đơn đâu, bây giờ mới là đường đôi thôi. Basically break down to mannose, yes. And of course that's the main thing that it do. And it just break down like sugar, massive sugar molecules into mannose and other smaller ones. What else?
Saliva also help to kill pathogens and bacteria.
How does it happen?
The saliva contain lysosomes. So
lysosomes? You mean it contains, of course, it contains IgA or IgE, immunoglobulins. It contains immunoglobulins or Igs. IgA, I think IgA, yeah. And these immunoglobulins will neutralize the bacteria, and viruses will try to do that. So it does play a role in the defense of the body as well. Kháng thể thôi, có trong nước bọt, yes.
Yes. The food mixed with the saliva and shaped into a soft mass called bolus, and the bolus get passed down into the pharynx. The pharynx, is a tube that extends from the internal to the esophagus, and there's also to esophagus also a structures called the epiglottis.
What does epiglottis do?
It's prevent food from entering the trachea.
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 Trachea. The trachea.
The trachea.
Trachea. Trachea. It's and of course the epiglottis will play the function. But however, when you eat and talk at the same time, suffocation sometimes happens. Suffocation sometimes happens when you eat and you talk. Because why? Why does it happen?
When you talk, the epiglottis open, so there's high chance of food of the substance can block the pathway of preventing the air from entering the trachea.
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 The trachea.
Trachea.
Âm cuối là cái âm xoa, cái âm yếu hơn á. Âm trachea. The trachea. The trachea. The trachea.
The trachea.
The trachea.
Trachea.
I think let me check this word for a while, shall we? Always check. Wait, trachea.
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 Trachea or trachea.
Trachea.
Trachea. UK.
Trachea.
Trachea. Trachea. Actually, I think it's better to say trachea. You see, but you see the last sound is a cái âm schwa, cái âm yếu hơn á. It's a trachea. Trachea. Or you can say trachea.
Trachea.
But I don't think anyone pronounces that way. Trachea.
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 We can call them windpipe. Ống khí, windpipe. We call them windpipe, yes. Alright, please continue. I'm listening.
It's pat down to the esophagus. The esophagus is a muscular tube that connects.
Esophagus. The esophagus, you mean?
What?
Do you mean the esophagus?
Yeah,
You should not pronounce these words too fast, otherwise professors will not be able to hear them, They are old people, They might not be able to hear as good as younger people, So try to slow down. Esophagus.
Esophagus. Okay. And it contains upper and lower sphincter. To the ends, it transport the substance to the stomach. The stomach contains four regions, which are cardiac, fundus, bodies, and the pylorus. And pylorus.
Okay, we are trying to describe the structure of the stomach, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the stomach is where where's a lot of mechanical digestions, and also
it's not just mechanical. Basically, we have chemical digestion as well.
Yeah. And also mechanical digestions. The mechanicals works because there are three layers in the muscularis layers of the stomach. there are 3 layers of muscles that help to with the mechanicals, and inside inside the stomach there are special cells such as the uh, peripheral cells and the shape cells. Shape cells secretes pepsins, which pepsin.
No, actually, I think these chief cells actually produce HCl, right? Is it HCl or pepsinogen?
It's pepsinogens, I believe.
Okay, so there are two kind of cells in there: chief cell and
Peripheral cells.
peripheral. It's like parietal cells. Chief cells, so basically chief cells and parietal cells. Parietal cells and chief cell, which one produce HCl?
The peripheral cells.
Yes, peripheral cells. Parietal.
Parietal cells.
Because peripheral means like ngoài biên, it means like outside. Peripheral. Then this one is parietal cells.
Parietal cells.
Parietal. Parietal. Nó có rất nhiều âm schwa, âm yếu hơn. Parietal. Parietal cells
secretes chloric acids, and the shape cells secretes
pepsinogen.
pepsinogens.
Pepsinogen is basically the inactive form of pepsin. So it
Pepsin.
requires the acid environment, which is HCl, produced by the parietal cells, to be activated to become pepsin. So what does it do?
The pepsins break down large protein structures into smaller pieces. Right?
Break down proteins. Basically, pepsin breaks down big protein molecules into smaller. What does it break down into?
Into amino acids.
Amino acids. Very good. Alright, but sometimes when you eat meat, like very difficult to digest, like beef, for example, it takes like 4 or 5 hours to digest. Maybe more. If you eat like a very hard to digest food, you know. So besides from pepsinogens, you also have peptidase and other enzyme from the pancreas.
When it's all being digested and some of it being digest the substance and pass down to the small intestine.
Small intestine.
Intestines. Well, the intestines consists of 3 regions: duodenum, and ileum.
Duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. The three parts of the small intestine.
Such yeah. It first it got transported to the duodenum, where we receives a lot of enzyme from the pancreas.
Pancreas, a lot of enzyme for the pancreas.
Pancreas consists of amylase, trypsin, proteinase in general, lipase, and and okay, and also receives bile salt or acid from the gallbladder.
No, wrong. The gallbladder only store those bile salt and bile acid. They don't produce. Sai rồi.
Nhưng mà em bảo là nó secret từ đấy ra, nó
Alright,
chưa.
so basically secret from there, but I think it's better to say that the secreting organ is the liver. The bile salt and bile acids are stored in the gallbladder. Remember, wording, how you say it, what word you use it, is important.
Okay. The bile, which produced in the livers, are stored in the gallbladders, and when the foods are in the small intestine, the bile gets secreted into the areas, which help to digest fatty acids. And going along the small intestine, there's a lot of four structures of the small intestine called vilines.
And villi or villus, basically. Villus is the singular form, villi is the plural form.
Vilines. And on top of vilines, there are also a lot of four structures called microvilines, and all of the foldings provide a large surface area for digestions and absorptions. The brush borders also have enzymes that break down substances such as maltose, sucrose, lactose, or peptides.
Peptidase, actually. Are you talking about like enzymes now? It's called peptidase.
No, I talk about the substance.
Okay.
The enzyme is maltase, sucrase.
Maltose will be broken down from maltase, yeah.
Maltase, sucrase.
Sucrase to break down sucrose, see that? It's weird. Because there's so many little sub-enzymes, is not that much important, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. But we don't have one thing. What is that? Cellulase.
Yes.
Our body do not produce cellulase, which is an enzyme to break down cellulose. So that's why when we eat vegetables, we cannot really digest them. Why do humans eat vegetables then?
To help better with excluding our feces.
Because we need them as a source of water and vitamins. However, we cannot really digest them, so the vegetable will eventually become a large part of the feces, which helps us to in the digestive process. It also helps to filter out or to absorb toxins in the body. Đó là lý do tại sao ăn rau vào người nó thải độc như thế. That's the reason why when you eat vegetables, your body becomes detoxified. Detox or detoxified.
Detoxifies.
Detox, or we call detoxify. It's a verb, and the ED form is detoxified. Okay, now what else then?
There's absorptions. The absorptions of the substance occur to process of diffusions, osmosis, active transports, and the most of the absorptions occurs in the small intestine.
Small intestine.
Intestine.
Okay. Right. Now, so I think that's it about the digestive system. Good enough. Your knowledge is quite good. Now, let's move on to one of the most important topics, because Debrecen University focuses very, very strongly on cancer research and heart diseases. So if you talk very well, if you focus quite well on circulatory system, number 10, you'll be just fine. Just a trick, okay? Just a tip, okay? Tập trung vào cái chủ đề trái tim. Focus on the heart.
Okay.
Cancer as well, okay. Basic anatomy and physiology of the human circulatory system. Circulatory. Okay. So basically what you need to talk about is, of course, you can draw the heart out. Can you draw the heart, the different compartments and...
Yes, I can.
Oh, you can, good. And of course the vessels, and then the capillaries around the body, and then explain how it flows, and what is the content of the blood. Is it oxygenated blood or deoxygenated blood? Máu có oxy hay không? And also, what else? You need to explain the structure of the vein, the structure of the artery, and the structure of the capillary as well. Cấu trúc của ba cái mạch đó. The differences between them and why do they have to have that kind of structure. Explain the pressure differences too. Cái khác nhau về áp suất của máu này between the three kind of vessels. Because every knowledge is linked. Cái kiến thức nào nó cũng liên kết với nhau cả. You need to explain why the way it is. Okay, you need to explain the valve of the heart. SA node, AV node. What else?
Bundle of His.
Sorry? Bundle of His. Yeah, bundle. Okay. Bundle of His. Purkinje fiber. Purkinje fiber. Okay. Purkinje fiber. Bundle of His. What else? And you should also explain that the heart can beat on its own at around 100 beats per minute. Basically, if you cut the heart out, it will automatically beat for 100 beats per minute. However, the heart is controlled by a nervous system, the vagus nerve, or we also call them vagal nerve. Dây thần kinh lang thang, cái lang thang vagus. So basically, it's controlled by the vagus nerve or vagal nerve, which is a part of the parasympathetic nervous system. Oh, you did not talk about para and sympathetic nervous system when we talk about topic number 13. Sorry, I forgot. You should talk about that, okay? Very important. Para and sympa, what did you do? Okay, you should check out my Facebook pictures. Maybe I'm not so sure you have seen it. But I'll send it later to you, okay?
Okay.
Remind me, so sometimes I forgot. Alright. Circulatory system. You need to talk about the blood content of the blood as well. thành phần trong máu có gì, the content of blood. What else? Heart problems, like for example, a stroke. No, a stroke is when there's a blockage in the brain, but when a blockage happens at the arteries that feed the heart, which is the what's it called? I forgot the name. What's the artery that feeds the heart itself called? Coronary artery. Yeah, coronary arteries. Very good. If the blockage happens there, it's called a heart attack. Because why? To explain why is that the blood cannot go, and then it causes the death of the muscle cells of the heart, and that is a heart attack. The patient suffer from like an extreme pain, just like someone was stabbing them, like stabbing them. Đau như là bị ai đó đâm bằng dao. It's like, well, what else? Maybe it's good to talk about like cholesterol buildup, you know, in people with like not so healthy diets. Cholesterol buildup around the vessels, which blocks the heart, which blocks the vessel, block the flow of the blood. What else then? Can you think of something else?
No, can't.
Okay. Circulatory system. They will ask like deeper knowledge, I think. Like, what's normal heartbeat? You have to answer like about 50 to 70 beats per minute. 50 đến 70 nhịp một phút. They will ask you about maybe about action potential as well. Điện thế hoạt động and resting potential. Have you heard about it? Điện thế nghỉ, điện thế hoạt động. Action potential and resting potential. Okay, you will see them on the pictures and on my Facebook. Basically, it explains how the cells of the heart and other kind of cells in the body functions, how it is activated by the ions flowing to the cells and then causing like the voltage to increase or decrease. Nó giống như là cái sự mà hoạt động của một cái tế bào đó, nó bị kích hoạt lên bởi do cái điện thế, do là ions từ bên ngoài hoặc đi vào bên trong, hoặc là bên trong ra bên ngoài, nó ảnh hưởng cái điện thế của tế bào. Nó sẽ gây được cái sự trạng thái nằm nỉ hoặc là trạng thái hoạt động. And that also is important to learn. Okay, let's try to describe circulatory system. Your turn.
The circulatory system consists of the heart and two circulatory system, which is the pulmonary. Pulmonaries.
O với L, U L are pronounced like O. Pulmonary.
Pulmonaries.
Pulmonary. So pulmonary, and systemic.
Systemic. Yeah. The heart contains of 4 chambers. 2 chambers that in the apex of the heart are called ventricles, and the 2 chambers that above them are called the atriums.
Atriums. Did you mention apex of the heart?
Yeah.
Apex, you mean like the part?
Pointy.
Like pointy part of the heart, the apex. Oh, I see. So you you were talking about 2 ventricles and 2 atriums. Atrium or atria is a plural. Please continue.
Okay. The heart's We talk about the blood flow. The blood first flow, yeah, from the blood. Assume that is dioxygenated. It first pumped from the heart into the pulmonary circulatory system
Okay.
through pulmonary to the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary trunks and the trunks from the pulmonary veins into the pulmonary arteries, where there is exchanging carbon carbon
The carbon, the exchange of carbon dioxide.
dioxide for oxygens for oxygens, and all these oxygenated blood get to transport back to the heart into the left atrium through the pulmonary artery. The oxygenated blood then from the atrium sent down to the left ventricles, and from the left ventricles it pumped throughout the pumps. It then pump the oxygenated blood throughout the bodies through the aortic valve. Did I spell it right? Did I?
Aortic valve, very good.
Aortic valve, yeah.
Aortic.
The valves and can transport through the arteries into and divide into smaller vessels.
Capillaries.
Okay, yeah, capillaries, where there is exchange oxygen for carbon dioxide and
carbon
dioxide.
Carbon. Cái âm xoa đó, âm hai á.
Yep.
Carbon dioxide.
And internal internal cell waste, and the blood became deoxygenated and transported back to the heart.
Transported back into
the heart, which is the right atrium to be specific, through veins. That's the blood flow.
Okay, so let's talk about pressure and the structures of the three different type of vessels. So, of course, the arteries. By the name, artery is the vessel that carries blood from the heart to the body. It doesn't matter what kind of blood. As long as you pump blood from the heart to the body, that is called artery. So, of course, the pressure from in arteries has to be the highest among all the three kinds of vessels. Cái áp lực ở trong cái động mạch đương nhiên nó phải cao nhất trong tất cả ba loại mạch rồi. And it's so because of very high pressure, the walls of the arteries has to be the thickest. Nó phải là cái walls tường dày nhất luôn nha trong ba loại mạch. And of course, thickest wall to withstand the high pressure. nó phải chịu được cái áp lực lớn như thế to withstand the high pressure. And also, is there valves in the? There's no valve, right?
There are valves in veins.
Of course, but there are no valves in.
Yes.
Why? Because if you have very high pressure in the arteries, there is no need to have valve at all. If you have valves there, it actually prevents the blood flow.
Yes.
So the blood will just flow very quickly because of the pressure. And when it flows to the capillaries, why are the walls of the capillary very thin?
Because it's the thinness help with the exchanges between the blood vessels.
Exchange of what? Exchange of oxygen and CO2, and also it exchange nutrient as well.
Yeah.
It's not just the gas. It exchange nutrients, ions, water with the cell as well. You know, so there must be holes in capillary walls. Nó phải có lỗ trong cái tường của capillary nha, bắt buộc á. So để cho cái sự exchange of material to happen. There must be walls in the capillary walls. There must be walls in the capillaries so that exchange of substances, including oxygen, CO2, nutrients, and waste as well. Of course, waste. Chất thải của các tế bào đó nha. Những chất nữa, waste and nutrients to happen. What else? So there are trillions. There are actually like billions of capillaries around the body. So there is no need to have thick walls. Because as the blood passes through the arteries into arterioles, like small arteries, the pressure is divided already. And then it decreases further through the capillaries. So when it reaches the capillaries, the pressure of the blood is not so high. However, high enough for the exchange to happen. So the blood flows slowly in the capillary. Cái máu nó chảy chậm trong cái capillary nhé. And so after it passes through the capillaries, the blood is collected. Nó phải được thu gom lại ở đâu? Venules. Venules.
Venules.
I think it's called venules or small veins, right? Let me check.
I don't think there's a venules.
Venule, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so without sorry. Venules. Alright, so venules, it collects all the blood from the capillary. So that blood is now full of waste and deoxygenated. Cái máu đó lúc đó nó đầy là máu đen, nó là cái máu mà đầy CO2 và cái chất thải cơ thể. But then the pressure at the venules will increase. Why? Because it collects all the blood from like trillion or billions of capillaries. Nó thu gom máu từ rất là nhiều capillaries, nên cái áp lực nó bắt đầu nó tăng lên một chút xíu, just only like a little. But then the pressure is not enough. So that's why venules and veins contain valves for what?
Preventing the blood from traveling back.
What? You mean it prevents the backflow?
Yeah, backflow.
Backflow. Nó chảy ngược lại. We prevent the backflows of blood. True. So it allows only one direction of the blood. So it doesn't allow backflow. Nó cho một hướng thôi, không cho đi ngược lại. Okay, so what else? The veins have muscles in there, smooth muscle, cơ trơn láng, một trong ba loại cơ. So basically they have smooth muscles in there. What is the reason? Tại sao cái tường của nó phải có smooth muscles? Why there must be smooth muscles in the vein? Because muscle will contract and causes the pressure of the blood to increases, so it can travel back to the heart faster, easier. Nó gây ra nó co thắt, tại vì cơ thì nó co thắt, nó gây ra áp lực trên cái máu và nó bắt cái máu nó quay trở về tim dễ dàng hơn, nhanh hơn. Alright. So pressure at the veins are actually the lowest in all the vessels. You have to understand that. That's why you need smooth muscles. That's why you need valves to prevent backflow. Mình phải nhớ được điều đó. Alright, let's talk about structure of blood. What's inside blood?
Inside blood, there are red blood cells, proteins, gas such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, nutrient waste, and there are also blood buffer.
Blood what?
Buffer.
Buffer. Very good. You should talk about buffer as well. Give them. Like the system of buffer in the body. What is that? CO2, HCO3 minus, and then H2CO3. This is like a buffer system in the body to prevent the pH of the blood to increase or decrease too much. You need to also know the pH of the blood as well. pH of blood is from 7.35 to 7.45. Bắt buộc phải biết điều này nha. Nó giữ cái độ pH của máu trong cái khoảng 7.35 7.45. What else then? Go on, I'm listening.
I think that's all.
How about diseases with the heart?
It contains
the most. You need to know the most common diseases of people is heart diseases, and
also
to link them with a bad diet, poor diet, less exercise, something like that.
Also contain cholesterol.
What contain cholesterol, please?
The
contain cholesterol.
What? Sorry.
What contain cholesterol, please?
Fatty substance.
Okay. Is cholesterol always bad? I'm asking you this question.
No.
Why is it not always bad?
Because it's healthy with the rigidity.
It helps the cell maintains the rigidity of the cell membrane.
So, yeah.
So without cholesterol, what will happen to the cell then?
It cannot maintain its structures and became very
yes.
Very
it becomes it can break easily, and the cell might lose its structure and rigidity, which is dangerous because the whole body, the shape of the whole body and the functioning of cell of the whole body might be heavily influenced, maybe heavily affected. Nguy hiểm không? Nó không còn cái shape như cũ nữa, cái cả cái thân thể sụp đổ. The whole body can collapse. So cholesterol is vital in keeping the rigidity of the cell membrane and of the cell. Okay, go on please, I'm listening. Heart diseases.
And You talk about heart diseases?
Yes.
Oh. Uh, and but yeah, there are a lot of cholesterol. It also it's blocking the coronary arteries
Coronary.
and coronary arteries, and it prevents blood from the ion, aortic arch to be able to transport blood to the coronary capillaries
And
for
feeding the heart muscle itself, right?
feeding the heart muscles. So therefore the therefore it's called heart attack.
Mhm. All right. I think that's good enough. Now, circulatory system. Now, let's move on to respiratory system. Can you? You need to describe also how the. Wait, I forgot. About circulatory system, you need to explain something with the blood flow to, like, when the heart pumps, the loop sound. The loop sounds of the heart. Of course, loop. It's when loop. So loop is when like both ventricle contract.
Yeah.
Basically, these sounds are caused by the valve opening and closing. You know, maybe it's really closing it. When they open, no sound. When they close, they cause a sound. You know.
Yeah.
The loop sounds are caused by the valve closing. Like that. So loop, it's when the ventricle pushes the blood. Dup. Dup is when I think the blood flow back into the ventricles and then the valve closes. I think, as I remember right. You need to also explain like the how the blood flows in. I mean, the cycle, of course. But you did explain it before, without a loop sound though. Maybe explain how the respiratory system function. You need to explain the breathing. You know, like normally we breathe out and in. The volume difference is only like 500 milliliter. Cái lượng mà mình thở ra thở vào một cái lần thở chỉ khoảng 500 ml thôi, 500 ml thôi. Nhưng mà cố hít vào thở ra để ra được bao nhiêu chẳng hạn, đó là cái mà mình cần biết. You will know that like normally we breathe out and in, it's only about 500 milliliter, but if we try our best to breathe it out like that, it can reach like 4 liter. You need to explain that as well, and you need to explain the structure of the lung, of the alveoli, of the trachea, the windpipe, the bronchi, something like that. And surrounding the alveoli, you have a lot of capillaries, pulmonary capillaries. Pulmonary thuộc về lung, thuộc về cái phổi. Pulmonary means belong to the lung. What else then? You should also explain that the action of the heart is totally involuntary, so we cannot control it. Cái hoạt động của cái tim nó là hoàn toàn là vô thức, không điều khiển được nó nha. Nhưng mà hoạt động của thở là một phần là vô thức, một phần là có ý thức nha. You need to explain that the breathing, it's partly involuntary, so it means that sometimes you can control your breathing. Yes, of course we can, of course. But if we are not aware of that, the lung will automatically control the breathing, you know. So it's partly voluntary, partly involuntary. Okay. What else then? gas exchange, of course, you have to explain that. Diseases of the lung, of course, lung cancer. You need to explain. Moment. Of course, you need to explain the respiratory system from the nose. So nose, go down. You have what is it called? Sinuses. Of course, you have the sinuses. You have the sinus. Until now, we have not been able to figure out what the function of the sinuses are. Vẫn chưa tìm ra được cái nguyên nhân tại sao sinus nó ở đó để làm gì. Well, go down to okay. You need to explain the structure of the hair inside the nose. What is it for? It's to sweep out the dust and bacteria from the air we breathe. There are also like moisture and immunoglobulins, IgE, I think, IgE. Nó là có chứa cái kháng thể IgE trong cái dịch tiết của con người. Like in the human excrete, you often have IgE, I think. But from saliva, it's like IgA, I think. I might confuse them, sorry. Now, so, what else? And you also explain why we need to divide, like there should be like a lot of division into branches in the lung. Like why the trachea divided into bronchi and bronchioles, like so many small branches. It also play a role in like increasing the surface areas so that gas exchange can happen easier and more efficiently, you know. Cái vụ mà nó chia cắt ra thành nhiều cái nhánh nhỏ hơn là để làm tăng cái diện tích tiếp xúc thôi, để mà gia tăng cái sự gas exchange. What else then? Alright, I think that's it. The composition of the gas that we breathe in and out, you should also talk about that as well. Should explain like the gas we breathe out still contains some oxygen, so that's why when we do like you know, what's it called? Artificial. When we do helping the people who are unconscious by doing CPR, I think. No, not CPR. Anyway, just remember that the gas we breathe out contains some oxygen, so it's not totally devoid of oxygen, okay? Nó không hoàn toàn bị devoid, không hoàn toàn là giống như là bị không còn một miếng nào, nó vẫn còn nha. Not totally devoid of oxygen. Even though there's a lot of CO2 there, but there are still some oxygen in the gas we breathe out. Alright, your turn. Please describe number 9. Basic anatomy and physiology of the human respiratory system.
The human respiratory system, where we inhale airs and excrete airs, and it contains structures of nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli. First of all, the airs get inhales through the nose, and the airs are being filtered by the nose hair, which the nose hair can block off or preventing the pathogens and bacteria.
Kind of preventing or filter out the some bacteria
Yeah.
and dust.
and thus, and also there are immune the immunoglobulins, uh, uh, globulins, and the also secrets mucus, which help to moisten the air and warming up the airs as well. Then the airs then pass down through the pharynx into the trachea through the larynx.
Okay.
To the larynx and go down the trachea. It's just the
It has to pass through the epiglottis and entering the windpipe or trachea.
trachea.
Right. So when we eat or when we swallow something, the epiglottis will have to close the path to the trachea to prevent suffocation.
Suffocations. Okay. The airflow for the trachea will be divided into structures called bronchi, and divided furthermore into bronchioles, and down in the bronchioles, terminals of the bronchioles. There are structures called alveoli, which they are the site for exchanging air between pulmonary arteries surrounding the alveoli.
Okay. Very good. Now, so you need to talk about surfactant. Surfactants are the substance to make the alveoli it increase surface area, increase surface tension. Nó gia tăng cái lực căng của bề mặt đó. Cái chất làm tăng lực căng bề mặt đó làm cho cái alveoli nó phình lên thì mới có thể gas exchange dễ dàng được, nó xẹp xuống không dễ dàng đâu. Like we need to talk about surfactants, which is a substance secreted by the cells of the alveoli itself, and it increases the surface tension, so it keeps the alveoli inflated.
Thì chất tiết là gì?
Excrete. Danh từ excrete.
Không, cái bảo là chất tiết để cho nó căng nhỉ? Thì căng.
It's called surfactant. You check the chat. Surfactant. So it increases surface tension of the alveoli to do what?
To exchange air.
Okay, to exchange air better. To exchange air better.
Better.
Alright, can you explain how the lungs function? Breathing, and you need to talk about the diaphragm as well. Can you draw it? I mean, the lungs and everything, and the diaphragm, you know. It's better to draw everything out when you mention it, you know.
Yeah.
It's very good to just draw everything out. So I would suggest maybe bring a pen, and then maybe colored pen, if you can, into the exam room. Try to draw it. If you can draw it, of course you can describe it.
Yeah.
So try to draw the diaphragm as well. So you need to explain the action of breathing. So basically, when we breathe in, the diaphragm has to contract. So the lung, so basically the lung is pushes downward. Cái diaphragm nó là cái cơ hoành, nó phải contract, nó phải co để mà lúc mà chúng ta hít vào á, cái phổi nó bị kéo xuống thì nó mới làm cái thể tích phổi nó tăng lên được, nó mới hút không khí vào.
Không, cái diaphragm đi lên. Diaphragm đi lên thì ngực nó căng.
Sorry, say again.
Lúc mà hít vào thì diaphragm đi lên, căng.
Wait, is it going up or going down? You need to check that out, okay?
Đi lên để tăng diện tích. Đi lên.
Makes sense. If it going up, then if it goes up, then it pushes the gas out. It's weird, right? Okay,
No.
check it out.
Nó đi lên để tăng áp suất.
Ủa mà nó tăng áp suất thì đương nhiên phải push cái gas nó ra chứ. Okay, let's check it out. Diaphragm during breathing. What happened now? Why am I being asked about this? Chẳng hiểu tại sao nó bị cái này. I don't understand why. I think something wrong with Google now. Mấy trang khác thì ok nhưng mà Google vẫn bị. I don't understand. Alright, you check it out, okay? Okay, you explain it. Please explain the action of breathing, containing which includes diaphragm and something else.
The process of breathing.
The process
consists of breathing, inhalations and exhalations. Depends on the movement of the air. Depends on the pressures change inside the lungs. Inhalations occurs when the alveolar pressure fall below the atmosphere pressure, and contractions of diaphragm and all the external muscles increase the size of the thorax, thereby decreasing the pressures, so that the lungs expands. The expansion of the lungs decrease the alveoli pressure, so that the air move down, so that the air move into the area with smaller pressure gradient. And
concentration gradient, did you say that?
Sorry?
Did you say concentration gradient?
Yeah.
It's weird to mention that, because when we talk about concentration gradient, we talk about the two sides of the cell, you know. When we talk about like ion exchange, khi mà nói về cái vụ mà vận chuyển ion giữa hai bên của tế bào thì chúng ta mới nói là concentration gradient. Cái term nó nghe nó hơi kỳ lạ trong cái tình huống này, ngữ cảnh này. You know. Yeah. Or okay, you can talk about concentration gradients of gas, the concentration of gas in and out of the alveoli, I think.
Yep.
All right. Yes.
Exhalations occurs when the pressure in the alveoli is higher than the atmosphere. The relaxation of the diaphragms and the muscles, the external muscle result uh, in recoil of the chest wall and lungs, which increase the pressures. Uh, the uh, the lung volume decrease. Uh, lung lung volume decrease and the alveoli pressure increase, so that the air move from the increase, so that the airs move from the lung to the atmosphere.
Okay, good. Now, so without oxygen for like 5 or 10 minutes, we will surely die. Die faster than any kind of diseases, you know. So what I mean is that the lung, the heart is important. All the other kind of diseases, it takes time to die. So, but without breathing, if someone suffocates you, you die within like a few minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to, okay, we have only like 10 minutes left. Maybe focus on, maybe, can you explain genetics 1 and genetic 2? Like genotype, phenotype, genes, alleles. Okay, this one is part of your written exam, I'm sure. But I need you to explain the crosses. Dominant recessive type of inheritance, codominant dormitory. The first and the second Mendelian laws of inheritance. Genetic linkage, crossing over, and dihybrid cross. X-linked inheritance. Okay. Okay, can you explain the first? Okay, just genetic 1, please. First thing first.
Genotypes. Genotype is genetic compositions of an organ, and due to environmental influence is possible for the organism with the same organisms with the same genotype to have different phenotypes.
Why is that? Why is that? Nó là hiện tượng thường biến. It's called genotypic phenotypic expressions.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can have other there are maybe other kind of terms. Sự biểu hiện của kiểu hình phenotypic expressions, or there's a term, there's a field of science, it's called epigenetics. Tức là cái di truyền mà nó thể hiện ra bên ngoài ấy. It's a epigenetic. It's a kind of growing, ongoing field, which study how one genotype can result in so many different phenotypes depending on their environment that they grow in, the environment that you are fed in, the environment you live in. You know. Okay, please continue.
The phenotype, it is set of a characteristic that manifest by an organisms.
That is manifested by an organism.
Manifested by an
organism. Nó được thể hiện ra biểu hiện ra bởi những cái cá thể. That is manifested by the organism.
Genes is a basic unit of inheritance. Each gene has more than one form, and each form of genes are known
different
as
forms of the genes are called alleles.
Monohybrid cross is the inheritance of one characteristic or trait. Dominance and recessive inheritance. The dominance is a
Okay,
genetic.
then you should also give an examples of a kind of dominant recessive type of inheritance. Like for example, a very basic example in the book between flowers, white flowers and red flowers. But sometimes there is an incomplete dominance,
Yeah. Hold up.
incomplete dominance. Like for example, you can have purple, you can have pink flowers out of like a red and white. That's incomplete dominance, sự đồng, sự trội mà không hoàn toàn. Okay. What else then? You should also write down the crosses, Viết ra cái cross nha, P ra như thế nào, F1, P, F1, like GP, what is that, Just write down the cross. So the professor are more convinced of your ability, Nói chung viết ra hết, vẽ ra được càng tốt. Để mà có thể convince, thuyết phục cái người giám khảo là tôi biết cái này nhiều lắm, là things like that, convince họ. Just convince the examiners of your ability, try to.
The first law of Mendelian
first law of inheritance
is a set of characteristics which characteristics are determined by internal factors which occur in pairs, and only one of each pair of such factor can be represented in a single gamete.
In a single gamete, it's only one of those characters.
Yeah.
Yes. What else then?
That's all.
Wait, what do you say? First Mandela laws, like only one single character is presented in one gamete. How about the second Mandela law of inheritance then?
Second is that the second Mendelian law is the independent assortment.
Yes, independent assortment.
Which said that each pair of genes are different from each other, and a pair of each pair of constraint characteristics may be combined with another pair. Contrasted characteristics may be combined with another pairs.
Another contrasting pair, you
mean? Yeah.
Okay, so it's phân ly một cách độc lập với nhau, so it basically segregate independently from each other, you mean?
Yes.
It segregates independently from each other. So it basically doesn't affect the other expressions. One alleles doesn't affect the other alleles expression, something like that. Or in other words, it segregates independently from each other. Nó phân ly một cách độc lập hoàn toàn với nhau luôn. Or there's also a case we called what's it called? Cái hiện tượng mà nó ảnh hưởng đến nhau có nha, nó là hiện tượng gì ta? Genetic linkage, right? Wait, no,
Yeah.
It wasn't the, I forgot. Linkage gen, or something like that. It's a little genetic linkage. You need to explain that as well, when like one alleles can actually influence the expression of another one. But that is like a special case. It's not in the second Mandela law of inheritance. And you should also explain what crossing over is. So sometimes crossing over happens during meiosis 1, giảm phân 1, and it results in the exchange of part of the genes of alleles, isn't it? Sorry, of chromosomes. And it results in, what does it result in?
Variations
Variation in in the type of gametes, in gametes. Very good. Now, about X-linked inheritance, I think it's better to give an example about it's like color blindness. Red, green, color blindness. Yes. Red, green, color blindness. You know. Alright, good enough. I think.
Yeah.
Now I think that's it. I think it's time now. I'm tired. I'm sure you're tired too after like 2 hours. Alright, so if you want to book other lesson with me before your exam. When's your exam anyway?
Tuesday next week.
Oh, Tuesday, 26th, huh?
Yeah.
I'm actually free on Monday, what is it, 25th, the night before your exam. And are you free during the day or are you only free during the evening?
I'm free all day.
Oh, during the whole day you can study?
Yeah.
Sure. Because I am actually more free during the day, so you can study with me like that, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about it on message. Okay, that's the end of my videos. Please like, share this video with your friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and press on the bell button next to the subscribe button so you can get notified about my new uploads, okay? You can also press follow my Facebook, but please don't add me on Facebook as friends, okay? Cảm ơn các bạn đã theo dõi nha. Các bạn hãy nhấn vào like, chia sẻ video này bạn bè các bạn. Nhấn vào nút đăng ký kênh YouTube mình và nút cái chuông kế bên cạnh cái đăng ký kênh đó để mà các bạn có thể được thông báo về những video mới nha. Các bạn cũng có thể nhấn vào nút theo dõi Facebook mình nhưng nhớ đừng kết bạn Facebook mình nha. Thank you and see you. Bye.